People are saying it more and more. Utah is becoming the next California, but is that even true? Home prices are skyrocketing, traffic is getting more congested, and let's be honest, are the politics here in Utah changing? And the real question that people are asking themselves is Utah losing what made it, well, Utah? So let's break down what's actually changing and what's not, so that you can decide for yourself. First of all, Utah leads the nation, #1 in the entire country for new construction homes per capita. In other words, there are more new homes being built in Utah per 1,000 residents than any other state in the country. And with Idaho just behind the state of Utah, it's the inner Mountain West that is seeing the massive amount of growth that's changing our lives and our way of life here. And there are a lot of counties and areas within Utah that are growing incredibly fast. First of all, down in Washington County in the St. George metropolitan area, things are growing at a very rapid pace. But the fastest growing county in Utah is not Salt Lake County. It's actually south of Salt Lake City, and that is Utah County. And we also have other counties like Summit, Davis, and Weber counties that are growing incredibly quickly as well, and up and coming areas like Tooele County that are poised to see massive growth for years to come. And with an influx of Californians moving to the state of Utah, in fact, the data reflects that 1 out of 5 people that make the move to Utah are from California. But when you factor in only in-migration, the people that are moving here that are not from here, it almost accounts for 40% of the people that are moving here. And so if you're from the state of California, I'm talking directly to you. And with my unique perspective in my own spouse moving here from California as well, along with her entire family, I feel like I've got a really good pulse on what it takes to make the move, but also what are the concerns that people have when moving from California to the state of Utah. So we're going to compare Utah and California across 5 categories: housing, cost of living, traffic, politics, and one of the most important is lifestyle. Okay, first up, as a real estate expert, let's talk about housing and what it takes to actually make the move here and compare it to that of California. With the median home price in Utah well over $540,000, and especially if you're living in the areas that are growing really fast, where we see the biggest increases and the growth in terms of real estate costs, those numbers exceed $600,000. So with a median home price in the 5 to 600s, Utah is definitely poised for more price appreciation for years to come, but prices here have doubled since 2015. So in just one short decade, prices have doubled. So how does that compare and stack up against California? In California, the median home price is closer to the 800s. So for many people that are making the move here from California, it feels like a little bit of a bargain. They feel like they are actually getting more for the money. Now, of course, this depends on where you're moving from and where you're moving to. If you're moving from a place in California that's less desirable, and then you end up moving to a very desirable neighborhood or even Park City, you're going to find that it's much more expensive here. And so it's all relative to your unique perspective. But it's not just purchasing real estate in Utah that's gone up, it's renting as well. Rents in Utah have increased 30% in just 3 short years. Utah is continuing to see an increase in rents because for now at least, buying a home is substantially more expensive than renting a home. And as renters are starting to clear out of those properties and the landlords are repositioning people back into their properties, they're renting those properties for more because that divide, that delta between renting and buying has gotten bigger. And because of that, it's going to pull rental rates right up with it. And it's interesting because I actually do predict and forecast that we're going to see a higher percentage growth in rents than we will in home prices. And that's actually going to impact prices in terms of rental rates and close that gap just a little bit, but it's going to hurt those that are looking to rent. And I can't talk about housing without talking about how incredibly important the new construction market is here in the state of Utah. Typically, in a given year, we see about 10 to 12% of our homes that we sell each and every year being new construction. But with recent developments, not only in the economy, but also the interest rate environment that we're in, we're seeing over 34% of all homes that are being sold being new construction. I say this over and over and over again. New construction is oftentimes the best buy in real estate right now. You get more incentives, you get more kickbacks, and you get more for your money because more often than not, you're getting a much better interest rate on that new construction home than you could ever get with an existing home. So if you're looking at new construction, definitely reach out to me. I've got a lot of pointers and tricks to make sure that you get the best deal on a new construction home. So yeah, housing is its own animal in terms of the economy and what it takes to make the move from California to Utah, but cost of living is not just impacted by housing. So yeah, housing has gone up in price. It's still a bargain for many people moving from California, but housing is not the only element when it comes to factoring in cost of living. Let's look at the other costs that it takes to make the move from California to Utah. And so cost of living is a really broad statement. We refer to what does it take to actually live here day to day. We're talking about gas prices, utilities, food and groceries, dining out, all of the things that it takes to live here. And while Utah does have some really appealing factors with respect to cost of living, for example, we have the least expensive utilities in the entire country. That's a really good positive. We also have above average gas prices, but they're really quite a bit lower than most places in California. We do have overall a very healthy and balanced cost of living. We are a very affordable state overall when you exclude housing, and then housing pulls that cost right up to the point where Utah is ranked 26th in the nation, almost right in the middle in terms of the middle of the pack with respect to comparing total cost of living, factoring in housing and all of the other costs associated with living in a particular place. We sit right there in the middle of the pack. And depending on where you're moving from, especially from California, Utah's flat income rate tax of 4.85% is a healthy reminder that you can stretch your money further because Utah is very different than what you can experience in California with their progressive income tax. So in Utah, you know that your tax is 4.85% on your income, regardless of what your income is. Although Utah is much more expensive than it used to be, it's still a bargain for most people that are moving here from California, and it is less expensive to live in Utah than it is in California, for now. All right, next up, let's talk traffic and congestion. Now, right now, we're going through this weird little period of time where the southwest corner of the Salt Lake Valley, as well as the northern portion of Utah County in Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, and Lehigh are incredibly congested right now with so much road construction taking place in the conversion of Bangerter Highway in Salt Lake County being converted to a freeway with multiple interchanges shut down on 98th South as well as 134th South and 27th West. It's really created a lot of bottlenecks in the southwest corner of the valley in South Jordan, Riverton, Bluffdale, and Harriman. But just south of Salt Lake County in Utah County, where we've seen the vast majority of our growth, we're noticing massive changes in congestion through Saratoga Springs as you make your way from Lehigh to the east, out and through Saratoga Springs towards Eagle Mountain. This area is being built out currently. The freeways are under construction, and the Mountain View corridor that runs all the way on the west side of Salt Lake County and extends up and over the mountain into Saratoga Springs is currently under construction. The freeway overpasses are going up right now, so in the coming months and years, this area is going to be phenomenal for traffic and congestion, but for right now, it's one of the biggest bottlenecks in the state, and it can be a little bit of a deterrent for some people that are moving here. But unlike some areas in Utah that were poorly planned, I do believe that this area was incredibly well planned for to make sure that the infrastructure is there to support not only current population, but the population to come. And Utah in general, because it is such an incredibly fast-growing state, has a lot of needs with respect to transportation. And I believe that the Utah Department of Transportation does a phenomenal job in planning these projects. Although some of those projects weren't well planned in years before or decades before, they're at least doing a good job now and planning forward to make sure that the investment is there to make sure that the infrastructure can support future population. And this commitment to Utah's growth is manifest through UDOT's $26 billion investment through the year 2050. This is going to transform how people move around the state. It's going to be really well built in years to come. You just might be experiencing some of those growing pains depending on where you live. And although traffic is getting worse here because we have a bigger population, I'm with Californians that are visiting every single week. We are light years away from Southern California traffic, so they kind of laugh at what we call traffic, but in all honesty, perspective is everything, and if we can manage our growth responsibly, hopefully we can avoid becoming LA. Okay, next up, let's talk about the difficult one. Let's talk about culture and politics. So, is Utah becoming the next California? Are we adopting what has made California, California? Or are we preserving Utah's cultural and conservative values that have ingrained themselves into our communities here for decades and even the entire history of the state of Utah? And look, while we do have changing demographics as more and more people are moving into the state of Utah, what I've noticed from my personal perspective, from talking to people moving here from California, as well as places from all over the world every single day, I believe firmly that almost everybody that's making the move here, they're moving here for one reason. They're moving here because of what Utah is, and they're not actually trying to move here to change it. Now, I understand the locals' fear in terms of, please don't come here and ruin my state. Don't change it. We like it the way it is. And I do understand where they're coming from. From my perspective, I get to talk to people that are making the move here every single day. And from my experience, they're coming here because they love what Utah is and it fits their values. So ultimately, take that for what you will. I believe that Utah is maintaining its culture. We're just adding a little bit of spice to it. We're adding a little bit of additional flavor to it. But overall, we're absolutely maintaining what made Utah, Utah to begin with. And the growth that's happening here in the state is pretty polarizing for some people, as well as other states around Utah. They don't want to see our states grow to the same level that other states like California have grown to. And I understand that as well. We want to be mindful that, yes, we want to maintain what Utah is. At the same time, who are we to tell anybody that they can't move here? The bottom line is we live in a beautiful country where we have the freedom to make the move wherever we so choose. And if Utah's your best place, if Utah is the place for you, we welcome you with open arms, and I'm here to serve you and make sure that you find the perfect home for you. Okay, next, let's talk about lifestyle and identity. Is Utah shifting culturally? Is Utah shifting in terms of our lifestyle here? I don't think so. People live here and absolutely love the outdoors. People here in Utah typically really appreciate nature and all that this place has to offer. And while Utah is an incredibly safe place to live and it offers unmatched, unparalleled access to the outdoors, it's at the same time growing to the point where it's getting a little more crowded. And so we want to be mindful that if you do want to participate in the outdoors, you might have to go to a place that's a little further away if you want complete isolation. Or if you want that trail all to yourself, you're probably going to have to drive a little further away because more and more people are coming here to enjoy exactly what makes Utah and Salt Lake City and the surrounding areas so incredibly special. And one of these shifts that's happening in the state right now that from my perspective is rather than just being a local first mentality, and that goes from ski resorts to trails to all of the things that we appreciate and take advantage of with our outdoors, it's become much more embracing of all those that are coming here to enjoy it, whether it's visitors visiting the 5 national parks in the state of Utah or the 40 plus state parks, or if they're coming here to visit to ski or to hike or mountain bike, whatever the case may be, this place is here to enjoy for anyone that's here, whether you live here or you're visiting or just passing through. And all of this growth with respect to not only the population growth here, but the investments that are made here in Utah by so many companies, we're noticing a really big uptick in luxury developments. We're seeing much more out-of-state investments for trendy districts or areas where you can go experience sports or entertainment. There are quite a few of those places that are popping up in the state right now that are definitely there to serve not only the locals, but the people passing through. So is this on par with what California has experienced? I don't think so, not even remotely close. After all, California is a much larger state with a much, much larger population. But I really do love to see the growth that's happening in the state that's offering us a diverse number of activities and things and restaurants and all the things that we want to do all at our fingertips. We have everything here that we would want. Utah has changed dramatically in the last decade, and I do believe that this change is going to progress not only through the 2020s, but well through the 2030s and 40s up to the year 2050. And so the real question is the most important question of all. Yeah, you may want to live in California, or you might want to live in the state of Utah. Regardless, where's the best place for you? So in talking about all of the pros and cons between California and Utah, yeah, the housing prices have gone up in Utah, but overall, the housing costs in Utah are far better than what you'll find in California. And while the infrastructure at times does struggle keeping up with the surging growth here in the state of Utah, we are on par with one of the best places in the country with respect to proper planning and funding for infrastructure projects. And it's really cool to see the big investments that are coming not only from local companies as well as municipalities, but also out-of-state investments coming into the state of Utah to make this place even better. And while the cultural shift in one particular neighborhood might feel like it's happening quite rapidly, overall as a state, we're still maintaining our identity as a conservative state in the middle of the West that is, in my opinion, a shining example of how a state should be run. And this is precisely why so many people are wanting to move here, especially my friends from California. So to answer the big question, is Utah becoming the next California? Well, in some ways, yes, of course. Part of that comes with growth. As we see more and more people, we see that growth that's making it feel a little bit more like California. But you still have the chance to get ahead of the curve. If you compare Utah and California in so many different ways, they could not be more different. I do believe that that identity that separates California and Utah and the people that live in them and keeps them different is going to remain for many, many, many years to come. And so the real question that you should be asking is Utah the right place for you? And I believe for the right people, it absolutely is the best place to live. And so if you're thinking of moving to Utah, whether you live in California or not, or you're considering making the move within the state of Utah, I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. Please reach out to me. You can find my contact information in the description below, and you can even book a video call with me right in that link that you'll find in the pinned comment on this and every video. And if this is the type of content that is helpful for you, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to the channel. It really, truly helps me get in front of more people just like you. And if you're looking to learn more about life in Utah, check out this playlist next. And until the next video, thanks.